Hey everybody, Tony Zayas, joined by Andy Helco, and today we're going to take a look at BuyerTwin. In particular, we're going to show you guys how you can walk through and build out twins of your, ideal customers, so you can dive in, understand them, kind of all the different things that they're using to make decisions and into consideration and all of that. So Andy, did you want to bring BuyerTwin up here?
Yeah, I'd love to. We have built BuyerTwin really to create a clone of your target customer that you can interact with, and you can brainstorm messaging, have them evaluate web pages, and so much more. But the first place that it really starts is building out that audience clone. And so when you're in BuyerTwin, you can create different segments. You can see here we have like ed tech and aerospace and biohealth. Um, and then under those, you can create different buyers basically. And so this one is a chief marketing officer. And one of the first things that BuyerTwin does is it prompts you to prioritize factors about them. And what BuyerTwin is doing is it's going out and leveraging our different data sources. AI it understands your company, it understands what segment this buyer is in, and it begins to suggest factors that you can rank and prioritize to really hone your buyer. And so, in this case, with a chief marketing officer, it starts out with pains, and we can say, okay, well, adapting to rapid tech changes, yes, right now that is high priority from a pain perspective. Balancing brand consistency and innovation. And we can look at some of these other things like navigating regulatory compliance. This is actually really important because of the segment that we're in. So we'll keep it normal. But then we may come down and say, okay, measuring ROI on marketing spend. Right now, that's a little less relevant. The reality is the AI and our data sources work so well. Most of these end up being highly on target because, again, they are taking into consideration what you do as a company, the segment that the buyer is in, manufacturing, whatever it might be, their title and information about them, and using these data sources and AI to really surface things that are already hyper specific to that person. And the prioritization really just helps you hone it a little so you don't have to brainstorm yourself. It's really more about, I'm just going to tweak my clone to be aligned with what I think is most important.
And I'll add, I totally agree with that. I think the AI does an incredible job of pulling out all these factors, and when we lead clients through this, that's usually the response. Um, but I feel like a lot of companies think, no, no, we're different, or our buyer's a little bit different, and that's where you can use this ranking to adjust kind of what it presents and making sure that it matches, in direct alignment with your audience relevant to your business.
Yeah, and all of this is editable too. So I mean, as you're coming in here, you may see scalable marketing solutions as a buying factor that, this is what influences how they buy, but you might want to, slightly adjust it and add your own little nuance to it, and you can do
Right.
that, right? So this really lets you hone in again on creating a clone that we're already making it hyper specific to you. Even if you didn't do any of the prioritization or customization, but it is there that if you want to dig deeper and you really want to, hone it on your own, you completely can do that. And this process really walks people through. So we have pains, what is keeping them up at night, buying factors, what are the different pieces that influence them making decisions. We've now moved to motivations, where it's what is, driving them emotionally, mentally, or whatever it might be. Next, we can skip and go to responsibilities. What in their job or in their life do they need to be focused on? So you can see with the chief marketing officer, it's drive integrated marketing strategy, forge strategic agency partnerships, oversee product launch execution. Um, then we go into something like influencers. Who in the organization influences them the most and why? So you can see, obviously, for this CMO, the CEO and executive leadership team, the VP of sales. And then we can move on to trends. What are the new trends that are going on that are really influencing them right now? So this one is related to the automotive industry. So you can see
Mm.
digital first car buying experience is one of the trends that is really driving them. And then it moves into softwares that they commonly use. This is actually pulled out of data that we have access to that understands, based on different segments and different roles and size of organization, what are the likely softwares that they use. So you get a sense of that. And then even into solutions, this is what are the things that they're looking to buy. And so obviously omni-channel digital marketing campaigns, marketing automation, brand repositioning, creative strategy. And so once you've gone through this process and you have, prioritized, saved, whatever it might be, you end up building out a clone that is highly specific. And again, it depends what industry you're in. I just moved to a school administrator in K through 12, and you can see totally different of budget constraints, staff recruitment. And this is the foundation of creating a great clone, is really starting with these influencers. And then BuyerTwin will actually continue to evolve and address other things by bringing in stuff like their background. It has data on their personality, on their environment, demographics, and a lot of other things, so that it is really trying to build that hyper accurate clone with a lot of smart information.
Right. And I'll just add, I think that BuyerTwin has done a nice job of making it easy to go through that process, to go through the factors. So, like the first time you go in here, that screen that Andy had up pops up, and you kind of go and rank, prioritize. It's kind of a wizard, and then that stuff is stored. You can always go back, change, edit, but once that's there, that's the foundation that builds this out. So if you're thinking that building out your buyer clone is going to be like this overwhelming, project, it really is made easy in here.
Couple minutes.
Right.
Yeah, and that's great. And then once, all this information is in here again, that we are using all of these different sources to gather information from many different places. That's here that when we'll talk about in future episodes, if you want to have a conversation with this clone, you want them to evaluate your website, you want to brainstorm messaging with them, you want them to begin developing ideas for you of content. All of these things are built off of you having, in a few minutes, created this hyper specific clone.
And I think if anyone is wondering why it's important to have all that info, like the demographics, details dialed in, it's not just to have it. It's not like just to review and be aware of that. That's helpful, but it allows this clone to truly have the perspective of that buyer, for them to be able to put themselves in the shoes of what are their daily responsibilities, who are the people that are influencing them, what are the decisions that are weighing heavily on them, their pain points, all that. That's what allows this perspective to be really accurate and powerful. It's not just to have that for the sake of like saying, oh, we know our buyer. It's really in how we, very highly useful in what we're doing elsewhere in BuyerTwin.
Yeah, totally. So that's the platform. Very powerful. I think for anyone that wants to understand their audience better, wants to really align their messaging to their audience, have really that person sitting next to them while they're building campaigns or pages, giving them feedback, this tool is really the pinnacle of being able to do that.
For sure. And if you haven't already, go check it out, buyertwin.com. There is a free version, so you can dive in there, play around with it, and kind of see how it works. So check it out. And we'll be back with another one of these, walking you through, showing you more what BuyerTwin could do. Thanks, everybody.